Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Becoming Anchored podcast. My name is Laura Deneen. I'm joined by the amazing Lauren Jackson. We are so grateful to have you listening to today's episode. If you're new to the show, we really are about two things on this podcast. Lauren and I talk frequently about some of the pain and struggles that we have been through, and we're here just to normalize that and to share some hope around those experiences with you all. And then we have the amazing privilege of sitting with clients on a daily basis, and we truly just cherish that work. And so we've gleaned, I think, a lot of wisdom and nuggets over the years, just working with clients, and that is just such a gift to us. If you are local to the state of Tennessee, we would love to work with you. And if not, we encourage you to reach out to someone local to you. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, so we were chatting just before we started recording about what we wanted to share with you all today, and we thought that introducing the body image spectrum to you all would be beneficial for today's episode, and so we're really going to be talking about the benefits of really learning about the body image spectrum and how to use it in your daily life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in our last episode, we really dove into just getting curious about our negative body image and in the present, and then our stories around our negative body image, and we gave you guys some homework around that. And so we wanted to start kind of exploring what it could look like to start putting some skills in your little toolbox for your body image.
Yeah. So this is a tool that we will introduce to clients pretty early on, hopefully, in their therapy journey with us. And we find it valuable for a few different reasons. First of all, I think sometimes with body image healing and body image at large, it can feel super overwhelming to clients, right? Mm-hmm. As a lot of things with therapy can, right? Like when you're contemplating making changes in your life and maybe you've got this beautiful goal, like that can be amazing, but like then getting to the goal can feel quite overwhelming or almost impossible to some folks. And so the benefit of the body image spectrum can be really to support clients in breaking down goals into specific and attainable measures, right? And for the record, like I'm the first to say that I'm the type of person that's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this big thing. And then I start to think about the big thing and I'm like, oh dear Lord, like what was I thinking about, right? Lauren knows me well, so she knows this about me. And so I've found my mental health has improved in my life the more that I've learned, like, okay, the goals themselves are not bad. You wanting to change your relationship with your body is amazing, and we are all for that. But like how we do that is really important.
Yeah, I think that introducing body image spectrum to our clients can sometimes feel that in of itself can feel overwhelming. Yeah. And it can feel very novel and very new, to people's experience, living, a whole life maybe of negative body image. I think when we find ourselves in places of deep distress or dysregulation or whatever word you want to use, it's not uncommon to for really maybe significant black and white thinking to kind of follow that. And so I find that a lot of my clients who kind of live in some chronic negative body image spaces maybe will believe or will carry this belief that the only way that I can find peace with my body or have acceptance of my body or like my body or love my body or even take care of my body is if I like what I see, or if I finally reach the image that I want to look like, or I feel satisfied in how I look every single day. And so the body image spectrum, I think, helps to kind of challenge some of that black and white thinking, and break it down to, like what Laura was saying, what feel like a little bit more attainable bites, like a little bit more attainable like steps to take versus, okay, so now you're telling me I just have to like figure out how to love my body all the time, even when I don't love it, right? Or even when I don't like what I see, which can feel completely impossible.
Yeah, and I mean, the longer that I think Lauren and I both practice, please feel free to tell me if you disagree. I mean, I know how you practice at this point, and I feel like you and I are pretty aligned, but we've found the richness and the beauty in slowing down in our clinical work, and the body image spectrum is one of the ways to slow down. And honestly, I think that allows for the body image work to be more sustainable, right? Versus this like quick fix, versus this thing that feels like too much too soon to a lot of our clients. And if we're going to relate to our bodies in a different way, we also have to do something different. We can't just like do the same thing over and expect different results.
Well, we're asking you guys, we're asking our clients to literally form a new relationship with your body. And if you think about like developing a new relationship with anybody new that you meet, that takes time.
So much time.
You have to build trust, you know, all the things. And so, it's slowing down with anything, I think, makes anything more sustainable or, you know, in the long term.
Yeah. And I think gives us longevity and is typically a little bit more meaningful when we can take a deep breath and do this work in a way that is paced. On the Becoming site, you know, we mentioned the words trauma-informed quite frequently, and it's one of our values here at Anchored, and I also think that's trauma-informed, right, is to pace ourselves and to allow ourselves the time, energy, and space to, like, be able to do the rich work of healing body image. So all this to say, let's dive in to an example of what the body image spectrum looks like. So if you think about like a line on a piece of paper, right? So you can draw, a line out for yourself. I also actually talk about this in my free What is Healthy Body Image masterclass. And so, there's an example of a body image spectrum in that masterclass. So definitely check that out. That's a free resource for you. But if you imagine on one end of the spectrum, you would put words that would describe like a really harsh, critical relationship with your body, right? So some language that clients of mine will use is like body hatred, body disgust, intense body shame. I don't know if you've had any other language that clients will put to that.
Maybe like body loathing.
Yeah.
Body avoidance. I mean, negative body image, right?
Yeah.
Can go down there. Yeah.
Yeah, these are experiences that are the most painful for you around your body, right? The most painful. In the therapy world, we talk about like the subjective unit of distress. So these are experiences where like you might be at like probably between a 7 to a 10 out of 10 on the SUD scale. And then we'll go through kind of how to tell which area you're in around the body image spectrum here in a few minutes. But so we really move from body hatred, body loathing, body disgust to body tolerance, right? And there is a shift between those two pieces of really being able to tolerate one's body and all that entails versus actively trying to change something about one's body or actively being in a cycle of criticism about one's body. So there are some nuances between body hatred and then body tolerance. And then we move to body neutrality. And then we move to body acceptance. And then we move to either body liberation or body positivity. These words are all very subjective. And so Lauren and I both want you to really figure out what aligns with your experiences. There is no right way to do the body image spectrum. And so give yourself permission to like release some of the perfectionism that might be there for you. Yeah.
A couple of just thoughts to add as you were sharing what this spectrum looks like, Laura, is that, let me make sure, I hope I can remember all the thoughts. It's a line, yes, and it's not this like linear thing that we have to move through to reach some destination. So the goal is not to reach body liberation, body positivity, and just stay there. And and there's an expectation that we just live there the rest of our lives. So it's not this like linear thing, even though it's like this kind of line that we're imagining. It's a spectrum because what we're saying is that it's not either body hatred or body positivity. There's so much more that goes into how we can begin to experience our bodies differently than just this being body disgust, body hatred, body whatever, right? And then the other piece, and maybe this work with my clients is something that we're doing as we've really kind of started digging into some of this body spectrum work. But we talk a lot with our clients around like and not but, so like both and, right? So when maybe if I'm really starting to practice and live in this place of body neutrality, and I'm really reframing how I'm talking about my body or the thoughts that I'm having about my body, and I'm still noticing like I don't like my body though. Like I just don't like what it looks like. So a lot of the work we do with our clients is holding both at the same time. It's not but, right? It's not okay, my body's neutral, but I still hate it, right? And so that's a lot of the work too that can go into this spectrum, body image spectrum work. Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of research, I think, that the word "and" introduces curiosity, which we talked a lot about in our previous episode. It allows also for flexibility. Mm-hmm. That has been so integral, honestly.
Oh yeah.
In improvement of some of my mental health symptomology. Mm-hmm. And again, I think for clients that I'm working with that tend to maybe almost get this like tunnel vision with body image and their body image experiences. So yeah, I mean, like Lauren said, the spectrum is really just a launching pad for you to explore various things that you do in response to body image distress, right? So we were chatting a little bit before we started recording, but things that we would maybe work with a client around, right? We might talk to them about like behaviorally, what happens for you at each kind of point in the spectrum, right? There's so much beauty that can arise from insight, right? So somebody that is in deep body disgust might only purchase clothing items that are too big for their body. And they might have a lot of difficulty tolerating clothing that actually fits their body. Mm-hmm. So what can happen there is that can actually increase the cycles of shame around their body, right? Mm-hmm. So that's just one small example. Mm-hmm. I know it's not small to that person, but that's just, an example of what a behavior might look like for someone that's in body hatred versus maybe a behavior when you're in body tolerance is, being intentional about like brushing your teeth twice a day and flossing and showering, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not in a place where you're like buying clothes that fit or buying clothes that you love, but you're able to like care for your body in a basic hygiene sort of way. Mm-hmm. So there's all sorts of things. I mean, there are literally hundreds of behaviors around our bodies that we can start to raise awareness and insight for. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the first things that we'll do, right, mm-hmm. is looking at, okay, what are the behaviors that are happening at each point in the spectrum? Mm-hmm. And really, like, the more nuance that you can have for your own experience, the better.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to be different humans. We all have different stories. We all have different backgrounds, different jobs, all the things, right? And so the behaviors that you do are going to be specific to you, mm-hmm. And really highlighting where they are on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. And what's so powerful about bringing insight to behaviorally what we're doing is that we're starting to bring awareness to when I do X, Y, and Z living in a space of body hatred or body disgust, I'm actually reinforcing that body hatred and that body disgust. I'm mm-hmm. reinforcing the messages. I'm reinforcing that those emotions then must be attached to those thoughts. And so then that means that those thoughts must be true about my body, right? So it's a cycle that we can find ourselves in. So if we can start building awareness around that, that's power, right? Insight awareness is power, which we talked about this in the episode previously and first we have to invite in curiosity, right? Yeah. Being curious about what am I doing in this space of body hatred? Sure. What am I doing in this space of body disgust to reinforce that my body is disgusting right now?
Yeah. And I think a lot of times that can elicit a judgment or a judgmental response from clients of like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I do this thing, right? And if that's the case for you as you're learning about the body image spectrum, like I just want to validate that that's so normal. We can notice the judgment. We can start to set it to the side. We can share it with our safe people. We can get support around it. So those are all things that we can do to slightly start to tweak some of that judgment that we might be noticing. Yeah, so additionally, we might start with those behaviors. We might talk to clients of ours about what they notice in their bodies. So our ability to be embodied. Embodiment, you could ask 10 different therapists and you might get 10 different answers. But the way I think about it is really our ability to not only identify what we need, but to also meet our needs in a timely and consistent way. So I would imagine somebody that maybe is more accepting of their body is able to be embodied more frequently, right? Is kinder towards their body, is able to identify their needs and to meet their needs without judgment, right? Versus when we're in a place of like harshness or cruelty or disgust, we might have difficulty not only identifying our needs, but meeting our needs. We might ridicule ourselves for having needs in the first place. So I think embodiment is another subject that we'll also be talking to our clients about, just to raise awareness around where they are in the body image spectrum.
Yeah, totally.
Any other like pieces that you might explore with clients?
Something else that's coming to mind is, and I guess maybe this is a little bit of like another skill, but I think it can be used in conjunction with the body image spectrum really nicely, is just the body image like iceberg. And I mean, you can use the iceberg metaphor for anything, right? But using it for body image, I think, can be really powerful, especially bringing curiosity and some insight and some awareness to maybe particularly that kind of end of the spectrum where maybe a lot of our clients are coming in at negative body image, disgust, loathing, all of the things. Is if we look at the tip of an iceberg at that end of the spectrum, the tip of the iceberg is like only a small part of the iceberg that we see. And usually that's where those shaming, critical thoughts are, and the belief that I have to change my body to not feel disgust anymore. And then when we look underneath the water, it's like, oh, there's the rest of the iceberg, and it's huge. It's like, wow, that there's so much more going on under the surface. And that is where the curiosity and the insight can be so helpful in discovering maybe what those other things are under the surface. So I think it was maybe in our last episode where we were talking about the curiosity piece and inviting that in. It's like, hey, what else could be going on that is contributing to these negative body image thoughts I'm having right now? And maybe it's like, oh, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, or I don't know. I mean, the list is endless, right? Maybe my husband and I got in a fight over the weekend and we haven't resolved it, and we're like not talking to each other. That's distressing, right? And how I say this to my clients a lot: what are we blaming our bodies for that aren't our body's fault? That can be a helpful question to kind of invite in that curiosity. Because I think sometimes even just this idea of being curious can feel overwhelming. It's like, okay, what am I being curious about, or how do I do that? And that question can kind of help prompt some curiosity around, what am I maybe blaming my body for, or taking out on my body, telling myself that is my body's fault, that maybe it really isn't. It's just on the surface as body disgust, body loathing.
Yeah, and where we might go with that, right? Lauren mentioned this before in the episode, but it's the ability to hold both. Right? So we want to, as body image therapists, we don't want to avoid body image distress, right? In therapy school, side note, right? We do not get a lot, if any, training on the treatment of body image distress or body image concerns, right? So a lot of what Lauren and I have learned over the years is not only some of the work that we've done in our own therapy, but also some of the supervision that we've gotten, right? And so we want to attune to a client's distress around their bodies and give practical skills for that, while also working on conflict resolution skills if they have a fight with their husband, right? Because what can happen is, I think for a lot of our clients, it becomes so normal, like Lauren was saying, to blame their bodies, and it almost becomes easier versus like dealing with and working through what's under the spectrum. And we're not saying that like we don't need to work on body image and therapy, because we absolutely do. And I think good therapists that treat body image distress will do both well. But we also want to make space for all of it. And so looking at all those pieces of the iceberg, and we'll definitely do like an episode on the body image iceberg in the future. I think that's a really great idea. But yeah, holding both, I think, can be really valuable for exploring just some of the nuance that exists on the spectrum. Other things that we were chatting about right before we started recording is really encouraging you to look at your relationships. So like, how am I socially engaging with my friends and loved ones when I'm in a place of body hatred? Or am I more likely to like turn down an invitation? Am I more likely to like withdraw and isolate? Am I canceling my therapy appointments when I'm in a place of body hatred, right? So am I getting the support that I need? Where is my vulnerability, like on any given day on the spectrum, right? I would imagine a lot of times like vulnerability does help us, especially with safe people. So do I notice that when I'm able to be vulnerable with my safe people, that maybe helps me kind of inch along the spectrum? All of these things are ideas for you to really explore, hopefully by yourself or with a safe person, perhaps a therapist, that will help you move along the spectrum. And again, like Lauren said, it's not like, oh yeah, I moved to this place on the spectrum and I'll never go back there.
Or I can't
go back there. I think that is a fear that a lot of clients will express. It's more about, okay, if I do kind of fall back into old patterns or old ways of relating to my body, how can I course correct, right? And what do I need to do differently? Those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. And just because I maybe am starting to gain maybe more traction or feeling more empowered to experience neutrality with my body doesn't mean, again, this is that both and, not but, challenging the black and whiteness it doesn't mean that I might not have moments of discomfort in my body or moments of, I don't know, negative thoughts about my body. It's really, what am I doing with those thoughts and with that discomfort when it's rising up? I think that's what it kind of speaks to maybe how we can know if we are really practicing acceptance, right? Or tolerance, or whatever it is, or wherever we're at, and whatever we're like really working on is, okay, can I bring awareness to that negative body image thought sooner, and can I do less harm there? That doesn't have to mean that, oh, I've gone 5 steps back on the spectrum. It just means that you're human, right? And you have a body, and you're living in a body, and you're navigating that.
And we don't, a lot of times, like what clients will tell us is that, they weren't taught about all the nuances of living in a body, or perhaps you have like chronic pain or a disability. It's like our bodies are so complex, and we're always with our bodies. And so the body image spectrum is really just meant to be an invitation for you to start to cultivate some hope, right, around the change process, and to support you in really like breaking down some of these goals into sustainable, methods, if you will, of moving forward. The body image spectrum is not meant to be weaponized, and that's really important as well, right? It's meant to be an invitation towards compassion and gentleness, while also like wanting more for ourselves. And I think that's really healthy, right? That if you're listening to the episode today, like maybe you want more for yourself. I know that's where I was like 13 or 14 years ago. Like I was tired of living in a place of hating my body. And I finally worked with a therapist that was like a body image specialist, or knew how to help me, right, in that realm. And we just want to affirm, like, it's so beautiful for you to want to have a different relationship with your body. And this is one of the, I think, foundational pieces for that to occur.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Laura was saying, the body image spectrum, I think, can, if we allow it, can cross kind of all boundaries in terms of not only like body shape and size, but also ethnicity and gender and, you know, cultures. And right, it's meant for everybody to be able to use, and we don't want, that's not lost on us as we sit here as two white women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
Lauren, would you like to share an affirmation or homework with our listeners?
Yeah, so I'll do homework because it feels like the easiest thing on the top of my mind is just maybe starting to, maybe you draw out your own body image spectrum. I tend to do well with like actually like seeing something kind of in black and white or imagery or whatever. So maybe you draw it out and maybe you could just like start a daily practice of like just checking in with yourself around, where do I feel like I'm at on the spectrum today? And what behaviors are showing up for me that maybe are keeping me here? Mm-hmm. How can I take 1 centimeter step in the other direction?
Yeah, and even if you need to do like an 1/8 of a centimeter or 16th,
right?
It's like no step is too small, and I think that's really important to share as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different affirmations that I think that you can pull from in today's episode. I also think just, you know, being intentional about flexibility, right? Lauren talked a lot about the benefit of and. It allows for curiosity. It allows for space. So maybe just encouraging you with an affirmation to like be intentional about noticing flexibility.
Yeah, that's good.
With your body image story. Yeah. Thank you all for being here today, for listening to the Becoming Anchored podcast. We will see you next time. Take good care.
Bye.